you raise your right hands, please? And do you both swear that the testimony that you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Spradlin, you get to go first. Go right ahead.
Thank you. I received a call on June 28th, I believe, from Olympia Police Department, stating that they had a patient they believe was either a tenant or a previous tenant of mine that had admitted themselves to the psych ward, saying that they had suicidal and homicidal ideology to stab and harm me, specifically the female property manager at Cedar Point Apartments. I'm the only employee on site. I didn't really know how to respond at the time. I asked if a restraining order had been put in place. They said no, since Mr. Kirkley had volunteered himself there for services, that no action was being taken, and that it was my responsibility to file a request for a protection order. So I filed a protection order.
So the relationship is that Mr. Kirkley is someone who used to live in the apartments that you run?
Correct. And he had moved back out in March.
Okay, not currently living there though?
No.
Okay. All right. And I read all of this in your petition, and I don't believe I had any additional questions based on what you wrote or now what you've said. So is there anything else that you feel that I need to know before I hear from Mr. Kirkley?
Just that my concern comes from it escalating. I had sent a letter back out in October just asking tenants to clean up the front porches of their apartments and remove all tripping hazards. And then we had a property inspection by our insurance in December, received reports in January, and just kind of strange things have been happening since then. I've heard from various tenants who wouldn't provide written statements, that he said that he's out to get me, take me down, ruin me. Which, I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I've heard a lot of things. And then for it to escalate to this point is where I'm like, okay, this is becoming very unpredictable. I do hope that he's getting help and is in a healthy place. And so I just feeling anxious enough to request this.
All right, I understand. All right, Mr. Kirkley, would you like to tell me your side of it?
So on the 28th, I was cleaning my current apartment and my hand went through the shower wall, which triggered the same thing that happened in the apartment that when I lived at Cedar Point Apartments. And I was in a depressive state, but then the depression also for about 5 minutes added pure rage and anger. And when the rage and anger, I really realized that it was valid, but not reasonable. That's one of the reasons I checked myself in, because I'm not I don't believe in violence. I have been the victim of domestic violence myself. And with regards to the anger with Heather is, yes, I'm still angry that she does not do her job. It took me months and months and months to get moved apartments because my apartment was rotting. I had pictures. The opposite side of the wall was about 6 foot by 8 foot of mold. She kept telling me was not there. Everything except for the thing for my cat, which was an ADA cat, which she helped me do the paperwork so I could have the ADA cat. And I talked to CMAR because they knew how upset I was that this even went further, because I've been going there for 5 years and I've never been angry homicidal. It's just not who I've been. And when I was mad, I was just frustrated at people who don't do their jobs. The apartment complex is falling apart. I fell through the railing, and then her and her dad went around and proceeded to tell other tenants that I didn't, that I was lying. With this restraining order, she's telling everybody who somehow an ex-boyfriend found out I was in the hospital from co-workers at Amazon because she's friends with Brandon and Angela. So now my mental health issues and struggles that I'm trying to get help for is spreading around town, and I had no idea how the hell anybody would know this. So she tried.
I'm Glenn Craig. I'm Glenn Craig.
that I felt like, so I went in to get help to be safe for myself and other people. And now I'm being penalized for being honest, that I was angry. Really, I was really angry for 5 minutes. And it was so vile, the anger, that talking to this people at St. Pete's, I had to get a puke bag because the thought of being that violent made me nauseated. But like I said, it lasted all of 5 minutes. I think she should get in trouble for not doing her job, but she shouldn't get harmed. She shouldn't get murdered for it. Like, I know my reaction was unproportional, and I am getting help. I see a counselor. I'm going back in. I've never really been homicidal because it's gross and scary.
All right, I understand.
And
And
I'm 1,000 feet from her. So that was something that made me really like, what do I do? I live.
yeah, how far do you live from that 711 13th Avenue?
5 blocks.
Okay.
And just an off question, can I get a copy of this?
Absolutely.
And it's under oath, correct?
Yes, the testimony is. And the pleadings are as well.
Thank you.
All right, I am satisfied that Ms. Spradlin has shown by a preponderance of the evidence that there was harassment here, and that her reaction to the threats that were communicated to her through the law enforcement agency would cause any reasonable person substantial emotional distress. Now, again, I understand that Mr. Kirkley's mental struggles contribute to this, that they are certainly something that he acknowledges and knows that he has to deal with. However, he's still responsible for his behavior, and the reaction that Ms. Spradlin has is, I think, legitimate, even though, as I said, Mr. Kirkley suffers from some mental health struggles. I am going to grant the orders requested for 1 year. It seems to me, though, that the 1,000-foot restriction is unduly burdensome to Mr. Kirkley under the circumstances, and I don't want to do anything to restrict his ability to access his residence. So I'm going to change the distance restriction to 250 feet instead of the 1,000 feet that was on the temporary order, just to facilitate him being able to enter and leave his own place without running risk of violating this order.
Another question, when you have a moment, Your Honor.
Okay, yeah, just 1 second here. Okay, go ahead, sir.
I can have my lawyer, a lawyer that I'm hiring, still go after her legally, not contact her, not go near her, not touch her, nothing. I will have nothing to do with her personally, but
Sure.
I can.
Yeah, anything that happens through legal process, lawyer contact and stuff like that, that's all okay. That's exactly what we want people to do instead of taking matters into their own hands. Okay. All right, I've entered the order that is consistent here with what I was just saying to you.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have the court clerk file that order, and it will be sent to both of you by email later today. Or if anytime you want to get a copy of it, you can just access it from the court's website.
Awesome. Thank you.